Hello everyone, this is my English speaking practice and I'm learning English phrases and today is day 5 and I'm gonna learn the new phrases, new 50 phrases here. Yep. And also I have to review the phrases I learned yesterday and the day before yesterday. I have already learned 100 phrases and it will take about 20 minutes to to check my memory. Yeah, yeah. Yesterday it took 20 minutes, but yeah. Today I want to finish this in 15 minutes. Yeah, I have to translate it immediately. It's my goal. Yeah. Yes. So let's get started with first file one. Yeah. This is a website for testing, and I choose the file and yeah, select the column index display to display. Yeah, and yeah, the like this, and I'm go with this setting, save changes and go. It's better if the Japanese sentences are close to expressions I usually use. Okay. Um, I feel like I'm not really improving lately. Okay. I just end up using the same expressions I already know. Okay, good. To keep things simple, I decided to use same class example. Classic example. I don't really remember how far I got last time. Let me fire it up and see where I left off. So here is what it does. From there, it's just a matter of checking how the thing behaves. It's when the player is supposed to roll the dice. Then the backend needs to send what's called required action. Yeah, the whole section is something I was thinking of refactoring. Okay, next. We just updated with something like add required action. Yeah. But TypeScript is being picky again. Apparently, when TypeScript imports types across the modules, it cannot always handle advanced type inference. I think it tries to infer the exact type from it, but that messes up the whole things. Yeah. But honestly, the whole thing feels more complicated than it should be. So, might be better if to rethink the structure from scratch. Yes, I think it will become something like that. I think it becomes something like that. So I was wondering, what if I stop using those helper functions? So I was wondering, what if I stop using them? I see what's going on. Oh, wait. No, maybe I don't. Okay. So the idea here is sometimes server needs to push a notification, but other times it needs to ask the player to do something like push a button. Okay, perfect. Anyway, the payload is being payload is defined so that the client knows how to parse it. It's being defined so that the client knows how to parse it. Okay, so test 3 should be the first player, and later on, when it's their turn and the time limit expires, uh, the server should out roll the dice and end their turn automatically. And their turn automatically. I explained this before in an early stream. Each client sends a heartbeat every seconds, and the server check whether the time limit has expired. If it has, it runs a default action for them. Yes, yes, yes. If next game flow is not set properly, now this works. Now this works. Could be I broke it earlier. That is also where we should initialize a bunch of stuff, like including next game flow. Yeah. でも今のところ、But right now, the only for client part is being set, and everything else. But right now, it looks like the only for client part is being set, and everything else might be getting left as undefined. But right now it looks like only the for client part is being set, and everything else might be getting left as undefined. Yeah, that's the reason why it's failing. That could be why. かもしれない。And that gets scheduled to run after 15 seconds from the time the turn starts. That gets scheduled to run after 15 seconds from the time the turn starts. Let me just throw in console log to see if it's actually working. Okay. Where did I even run the heartbeat code? Where did I ever run the heartbeat code? And I'm wondering where is the best place to run the heartbeat? Yeah, and I I use the mock data currently now. I use the mock data now, but this nesting is kind of gross. I'm using. Hmm. Actually, I shouldn't have changed the structure. Now I'm confused. Okay. Hmm. When their turn starts, the move action should be shown up, but nothing showed. Why? When their turn starts, a move action should be shown up, should have shown up, but nothing showed. Why? Hmm. Maybe required action isn't updated. Maybe the required action isn't being updated. Isn't being updated. Okay. Right now we are really missing a clean way to update it across modules. Right now we are kind of missing a clean way to update that across modules. So the best place to do that is inside end turn task handler. Yep, it's there. It says roll the dice, go. Yeah, required action from the last player is still hanging around, and the required action from the last player is still hanging around. When I push the go button, the player ID when I press the go button, the player ID is showing up as undefined. Yeah, it's being sent. The payload has a player ID. Yeah, it's being sent. The player has the player ID. Ah, I see. This is one of those side effects of the current structure. Hmm. Anyway, I've been going for about an hour now. Yeah, I'm really feeling it. So I think I will wrap it up here. Mm. The main goal today is just to generate Japanese transcripts, and so I can later translate it into natural English. The main goal today was just to generate the transcript so I can later turn it into natural English and learn how I would say if I I would say I would say them if I were speaking in English. This stuff, all this stuff, and learn how I'd say all this stuff if I were speaking in English. The main challenge is how to cleanly manage the required action state and the current player the only the current player is flagged as needing to act. The main challenge is how to cleanly manage the required action state so that only the current player is flagged as needing to act. Once I figure that out, the UI will be able to switch when their turn changed. Once I figure that out, the UI will be able to switch cleanly when turns change. Okay, finish. This is file 1 and it took about 14 minutes. Nice. Okay, next. I learned yesterday and some phrases are duplicated. Okay, go. I feel like I'm not really improving lately, and I just end up using the same expressions I already know. To keep things simple, I decided to use a classic example. I don't really remember how far I got last time. Let me fire it up and see where I left off. I was hoping I could make more progress today, but I got stuck on the same problem again. I was hoping to make more progress today, but I got stuck on the same problem again. I was hoping to make more progress today, but I got stuck on the same problem again. When I try to explain my thoughts in English, sometimes I lose track of what I wanted to say. Whenever I try to explain my thoughts in English, I lose track of what I wanted to say. I keep telling myself review my notes, but I actually never do that. I keep telling myself I'll review my notes, but I never actually do it. Never actually do it. It's not that I don't understand the grammar. It's just that I cannot use I cannot use it naturally in conversation. It's not that I don't understand the grammar, I just can't use it naturally in conversation. Yeah, I feel like I made I made think more complicated than it needed to be. Sometimes I feel like I'm making things more complicated than they need to be. Mm. I wish I could remember new words as soon as I learned it, but I forget immediately. I wish I could remember new words as soon as I learned them, but they just slip my mind. I wish I could remember new words as soon as I learn them, but they just slip my mind. How many times no matter how many times I speak, no mm, even if I practice every day, I feel like I'm not improving. I don't see much improvement in speaking skills. Even if I practice every day, I don't see much improvement in my speaking skills. Hmm. I always get nervous when I have to speak in front of other people. I always get nervous when I have to speak in front of other people. How many times, no matter how many times I practice, I I made the same mistakes. No matter how many times I practice, I still make the same mistakes. Mm. I try to I try to get used to thinking in English, but it's harder than I expected. I'm trying to get used to thinking in English, but it's harder than I expected. Uh, I tend to translate everything in my head before I speak. I tend to translate everything in my head before I speak. I'm not sure I can use this expression correctly. I'm not sure if I'm using this expression correctly. Hmm. I keep forgetting the difference between say and tell. I wish I could speak as fluently as native speakers. I wish I could speak as fluently as native speakers. I always hesitate to. I always hesitate before answering questions in English. Maybe I use much. I use more. I'm afraid I might be using too many filter words. Too many. I'm afraid I might be using too many filler words. I find myself running out of things to say. I often find myself running out of things to say. I often find myself running out of things to say. I often find myself running out of things to say.これなんだったっけな。I want to be able to express my opinions more clearly. I want to be able to express my opinions. I want to be able to express my opinions more clearly. Sometimes I get so focused on the grammar that I forget to actually communicate. Sometimes I get so focused on grammar that I forget to actually communicate. I'm not confident yet about my pronunciation. I'm still not confident about my pronunciation. My mother was so happy because not only did I finish my homework and I also cleaned my room. The more I practice English, the more I practice speaking English, the more confident I become when I talk with people. The more I practice speaking English, the more confident I become when talking to others. It's a bit counterintuitive. I will write as ideas come to mind. I want to enrich the documentation. This value cannot be exceeded. It's like adding a turbo to a vehicle. I need to get certified. I belong to Linux team at work. It should be copyrighted. That that should about that should be about it. I will start with it. Either way is fine. I haven't thought it through. I haven't thought it through yet. People, the people tend to get sleepy after lunch. People tend to get sleepy after lunch. It's likely to rain. It will be likely to it's likely to rain this evening. It's likely to rain this evening. He's apt to forget things when he's stressed. He's apt to forget things when he's stressed. C is prone to making spell mistakes. Drivers are liable to fines when they speed. I'm fine with either way. I'm fine with either. Let's do it first. You just need to update the flag. Press it on the right side. I will hand draw a diagram and have AI process it. Okay, finish. But today I get so sleepy. But I need to run a new phrases here. Okay. Let's start to learn. So sleepy. Okay, I'm gonna talk about some updates and tests about my game project mission features. I'm gonna talk about some updates and testing related to the mission feature in my game project. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to explain the overview about what I've worked on. First of all, I want to give you an overview of what I've been working on. Correct? The mission I'm focusing on right now is about the acquiring of data fish. The mission I'm currently focused on is about acquiring data fish. player, as one member of the team, is required to sell a certain amount of share capacity in one transaction. Players are required to sell a certain amount of share capacity in a single transaction as a team. Actually, I found a bug and I got angry. I got annoying. Actually, I actually found a bug which was a bit frustrating. Okay. Yeah. I had to fix them. No. Because I needed to confirm if all of them works correctly for the demonstration. I had to fix them in rush. I had to fix it quickly to make sure everything was working correctly for the demonstration. I had to fix it quickly to make sure everything was working correctly for the demonstration. Okay, so I had to fix it correctly to make sure everything was working correctly for the demonstration. Yeah, it's a good timing to it's good timing because this is our last mission to be it's a last mission it's a last mission that need to be tested in the current development phase. This is actually the last mission I need to test in this current development phase, which is a good milestone. This is actually the last mission I needed to test in this current development phase, so which is a good milestone. After I confirm it works, I'd like to start to build the new screen for display of game results. Once it's confirmed to be working, I want to move on to creating a new screen that displays game results. Once it's confirmed to be working, I want to move on to create a new screen that displays game results. And also I'm planning to add a graph that shows the history of share capacity of each players, which would be helpful to attract users, attract more users. Yeah, which would be helpful to attract more users. I'm also planning to add a graph that shows the history of share capacity for each player, which I think will help attract more users to the game. In order to make it possible, I needed to update the game state so that the snapshot can be so that the snapshot of share capacity can be taken when important timing. To make this possible, I needed to update the game state so it could take snapshots of the share capacity at key moments. ここ it か主語むずいな。To make this possible, I needed to update the game state so it could take snapshots of the share capacity at key moments. However, I forgot completely. However, I forgot completely what the original bug is. So I had to reproduce it again to remember it in detail. However, I completely forgot what the original bug was, so I had to reproduce it again. Okay, I completely forgot what the original bug was, so I had to reproduce it again. Okay. Okay. I have adjusted the game settings. The time limit is set to 2 seconds and this mission is only enabled. Only this mission is enabled. Adjusted the game settings the time limit to 2 seconds and enabling only this mission. Okay. I realized that it does not include the information regarding I realized the mission explanation doesn't include the information of ミッションの説明に必要なタイミングに関する情報が含まれてないこと。だからミッションの説明に含まれてないんだよね。I realized that the mission explanation didn't include the necessary information about timing, or which might confuse players. I noticed that the mission description didn't include any information about the required timing, which could be confusing for players. I noticed that mission description didn't include any information about the required timing, which could be confusing for players. Okay. Therefore, I needed to fix it. I needed to fix it in order to make it more clear in the future update. So I will need to revise that to make it clearer in the future update. So I think it would be more proper and descriptive that I think it would be more proper and more descriptive, like your team have to sell a certain amount of share capacity to acquire data fish in a single transaction until checking time. Something like, until the checking time, your team must sell enough share capacity to acquire data fish in a single transaction. Seems appropriate and more descriptive. Something like, until the checking time, your team must sell enough share capacity to acquire data fish in a single transaction. Seems appropriate and more descriptive. Okay. I noticed that when I was looking at the code, I noticed that I hadn't introduced the concept of checking time when I implemented this mission at first. Looking into the code, I realized that when I first implemented this mission, I hadn't introduced the concept of checking time. Looking into the code, I realized that when I first implemented this mission, I hadn't気づきました。このミッションを最初に実装したとき分かったことに気づきました。 ったよな。Looking into the code, I realized that when I first implemented this mission, I hadn't introduced the concept of checking time. 現在の設定では最初のチームが完了した時点でミッションを完了とみなされ、これによりロジックが単純化されます。In the current settings, the mission would be the mission みなされOkay, in current settings, the mission would be handled as completed when the first team completed, and which simplify the logics. In the current setup, the mission is considered complete as soon as the first team finishes it, which simplifies the logic. In the current setup, the mission is considered complete as soon as the first team finishes it, which simplifies the logic. Yeah, that is intended, and it works well in the perspective of both the game flow and competitions. That's intentional, and I think it works well for the game flow and competitive aspect. Okay, that's intentional, and I think it works well for the game flow and competitive aspect. When testing, I tried to push a transaction, but it failed because there is not enough capacity to satisfy the requirement. During the test, I tried pushing a transaction, but it didn't go through because I didn't have enough capacity to meet the requirement. これは正直日本語はあんまり意味がわからないね。During the test, I tried to じゃないのか。実際にやってみて失敗したんですか。I tried pushing a transaction, but it didn't go through because I tried pushing a transaction, but it didn't go through because I didn't have enough capacity to meet the requirement. Yeah. You need 10 million share capacity to succeed it, which is huge. I needed 10 million share capacity to succeed, which is quite a lot. I needed 10 million share capacity to succeed, which is quite a lot. I needed 10 million share capacity to succeed, which is quite a lot. Finally, I was relieved. I was relieved to confirm. Hmm, I was relieved. I was relieved to. I was relieved completing missions and confirming it works properly. Eventually, I completed the mission and confirmed that it worked correctly, which was a relief. Which was a relief. Eventually, I completed the mission and confirmed that it worked correctly, which was a relief. One of my considerations is常にそうですがone of my consideration is which is always one of my consideration is the game balance to give fairness. One thing I considered is game balance, as always, to ensure fairness. As always, to ensure fairness. Ensure fairness. It looks too easy for the player who have a lot of shell capacity, but there is a fault. It might seem that this mission is too easy for players with a lot of shell capacity, but there is a catch. これ落とし穴か。It might seem that this mission is too easy for players with a lot of share capacity. It might seem that this mission is too easy for players with a lot of share capacity, but there is a catch. It generates opportunity of share mechanism. It creates an opportunity for sharing mechanics. It creates an opportunity for sharing mechanics. When multiple players gathers on the same node, the total amount of their share capacity is distributed equally, which endanger the player with high share capacity. When multiple players gather at the same node, their total share capacity is evenly distributed, which puts high capacity players at risk. in terms of this, it is a good news for fairness. Mhm. In terms of this, in terms of the mission is still well balanced, which is good news for fairness. So in that sense, the mission is still balanced, which is good news for fairness. And after that, I wanted to load the game state from local server in order to debug the interaction with UI components. Later, I wanted to load the game state from the local server to debug the UI elements and their interactions. I've reconfirmed the implementation for robustness, just in case. I double checked the implementation just in case for robustness. I don't know the reason, but yeah, for now I will go without camera. I'm not sure why, but for now I will continue without it. カメラが一言も出てきてないやん。それはないでしょ。Without camera. I'm not sure why, but for now I will continue without camera. I'm gonna move on the UI. I want to display the clear information about the active mission on the main screen. Moving on to the UI, I want to display clearer information about active missions right on the main screen. Right on. Okay. I plan to replace the I plan to 違うな the in earlier page, in previous page, in previous page, the old status is being displayed. So I plan to delete it and replace it to the real-time mission data. The previous page showed outdated status, so I plan to remove that and replace it with real-time mission data. Replace it with か。構文の取り方は間違ってなかった。And also, I'd like to give players an option to skip the confirmation prompt when they finish the virtual sharing. I also want to give players the option to skip confirmation prompts when finishing virtual sharing. Okay. Okay. I've already implemented the flag for that, which is true by default. So I can explain the reason why the prompt didn't show in my test. I've already implemented a flag for that and it defaults to true, which explains why. だから I can じゃなくて which か which explains why the prompt never appeared in my test. Yes, I think I've done well. I think I've done well as I think I've implemented well, although there was a tiny problem. There are some tiny problem. 全体として Overall, I think the implementation went well despite a few minor hiccups. I needed to adjust some values for the game balances because especially in the first phase the mission feels too difficult for new players. 可能性があるためI'll need to adjust a few more values for game balance, especially in the early phase, where the mission might feel too difficult for new players. 可能性があるとかは別にわざわざ英語にしなくてよくて might とかでいいのね。I will need to adjust a few more values. I will need to adjust a few more values for game balance, especially in the early phase, where the mission might feel too difficult for new players. Okay, I took some notes, so I will work on the adjustment. I will work on the parameter adjustment based on it in the next update. I've taken some notes and will work on adjusting the parameters accordingly in the next update. Accordingly, based on it. どっちでもいいかな。I need to align the variable names in order to make it consistent for the whole project. I need to align variable names to maintain consistency across the entire project. Across the entire project. Maintain consistency. I need to align variable names to maintain consistency across the entire project. Um, it's absolutely important to reject the invalid request from server in order to prevent the abuse, uh, any abuse, and maintain the security. It's absolutely important that we block invalid requests from the server to keep things secure and prevent any exploits. Keep things secure. うん。悪くはない。Sometimes I need to follow my intuition when I have to when I choose the new design. When I decide the new design, even mm, even if it looks even if I feel like it's a bit counterintuitive. Sometimes I just need to follow my intuition when deciding on a new design choice, even if it feels a bit counterintuitive at first glance. 一見はちゃんと英語にするのかい At first glance. Sometimes I just need to follow my intuition when deciding on a new design choice, even if it feels この it とかもね、まあこれはそのまま it か、構文の取り方は間違ってないし、even if が出たのも良かったかな。Sometimes I just need to follow my intuition when deciding on the new design choice, even if it feels a bit. When you need to, when I need to revert the UI changes back to original, I usually use the go back feature, a specific go back feature, but in the Git, in the version management system like Git, I この主語は I なのですかね。If I need to undo a change in the UI, I will use the specific undo feature. But for version control like Git, I'd usually revert it. Revert, undo, 違いか。If I need to undo or change it, if I need to undo a change in the UI, I will use a specific undo feature, but in the version management system like Git, I will usually revert it. For version control like ここ4か。ではこれに関しては I usually revert it. If I need to undo or change in the UI, I will use a specific undo feature, but てか長くね。ちょっと見ていいですか。ユーザーのアイテムリストを表示する際に と10個ぐらいあるのか。Okay, go. When it shows the list of items to users, it's preferable to sort it out by newest in order to make the latest information outstanding. When showing the list of items to the user, I generally prefer to sort by newest. そうか、これそうざっと構文か。in order to でもいいけど、そうざっとでもいいか。最新の情報は常に目立つっていうのを書けばいいだけだから、まあ、インオーダー2でもいいかな。通常は好みます。Sort by newest. When showing lists of items to the user, I generally prefer to sort by newest so the latest information is always prominently visible. 目立つ。これはテンプレなので非常に簡単で効率的でしょう。This is a templated code, so it would be very easy and effective to adjust the new features. This is a templated code, so it should be pretty straightforward and efficient to adapt it for new features. まあ。It's okay. Sometimes I find that my thoughts are organized, and at the time I would be able to make share huge progress for complicated problem. Sometimes I realize my thoughts have come together, and that's when その時こそ雑念か。その時にじゃないもんな。その時こそ I can really make significant そうだ significant だ significant progress on a complex problem. Progress on 何々に対しての進捗。I can really make significant progress on a complex problem. Sometimes I realize my thoughts have come together, and that's when I can really make significant progress on a complex problem. Okay, next. Okay. は？何かパフォーマンスだけでなくそれがパフォーマンスだけでなくユーザー体験の両方にとって重要なんだったらそれを優先する必要があるよねってことを言っている。If it is important for both some performance, not only some performance but also user experience. we should prioritize it. We need to prioritize it. If something is not only but also crucial for both. なんだこの表現。If something is not only はここに来るんじゃないの。If something is crucial for both, not only performance but also user experience, then I need to prioritize it highly. Okay, I see. I understand the reason why you want to implement like that for speed optimization. That makes sense. I can clearly see why we'd want to implement it exactly that way to optimize for speed. I can clearly see why we'd want to implement it exactly. Clearly see がはっきりわかるで、そのように実装したいのか。Exactly that way そのようにってこと。Want to implement it exactly that way to optimize for speed. I can clearly see why. まあまあまあまあ。First of all, before we dive into the topics that is unbelievably complicated, let's confirm the prior knowledge. Confirm all of the prior knowledges. First of all, let's make sure 確認しましょう。Let's make sure we have all the prerequisite knowledge before diving into the incredibly complex topic. Incredibly prior knowledge でもいいね。First of all, let's make sure we have all the prior knowledge before diving into thisこの信じられないほど複雑なトピック。This incredibly complex この incredibly complex topics as well. What is the best and simplest way to explain this part of code, this specific part of code for you? Let me think. What the best and most concise way to explain this particular part of the code to you? Actually, I believe the core logic of this feature is completed, so I think I finished the implementation. Here the thing. I believe the core logic for this feature is complete. Complete は形容詞なのか。 I believe the core logic for this feature is complete, so the implementation is complete from my side. I have a rough direction. I have a rough direction. I haven't thought scalability in a long term. Through though. Haven't thought the long-term scalability through yet though. I still haven't thought it through yet completely in terms of これはちょっとむずい。発音がむずいんだよな。これかな。I still haven't thought it てかまず最初に it が出るのも感覚がつかめないし I still haven't thought it so I still haven't thought it through yet completely in terms of long time scalability. I have a general direction. 急に it って言われてわかるものなのかな。これを聞いてる段階では it って何っていうのを思いながら聞いてて But I have a general direction. 知ってるまだこれはなんか仮のものか。日本語だったらこれが目的語になってるが英語だとこっちが副詞句になって目的語は仮で送るのか。I still haven't thought it through yet completely in terms of long-term scalability, but I haven't a general direction.これむずいな。あ、そっか。これも副詞句だからそうか。それは日本語に対応していて考え抜いて言いませんがで英語だったら目的語が必要になるから適当に it って言ってるだけか。I still haven't thought it through yet. I still haven't thought it through yet completely. Through yet completely. この3つの連続もだるいな。I still haven't thought it through yet completely in terms of that. もしこれを自分が言おうとしたらどうなるかを考えよう。まだ完全には考えてないけどみたいなことを言ってI haven't thought it through yet completely in terms of regarding って言いそうやな。in terms of regarding でもいいのかもしれないけども in terms of long-term scalability but I have a general direction. Okay. So that's it. So today's story is about it. Thank you for watching. I will fix the camera problem next time. See you. So that's all for today's stream. Thanks for watching, and I will definitely fix the camera issue next time. See you soon. Okay. It was hard. It took about 1 hour. Hmm. And okay, so I'm gonna finish today's stream. Mm, this program, uh, this program, which means learning English phrases, uh, is is planned for a week, and today is day 5. Day 5, so I have only 2 days. Yeah, and tomorrow I will create fourth fourth file. It covers a new additional 50 expressions like this. And yeah, also I have to review, yeah, file 2 and file 3. Yeah, I think file 1 is file 1 is easy, and the phrases in the file 1 is I have learned the phrases in the file 1, so I have to review these files, and I also learn new phrases. But this file was is a bit harder, so I will adjust the different difficulty. Yeah. Okay, and the main goal is to remember the phrases, and after that I want to use these phrases when streaming. Yeah. So yeah. The remembering is not real goal. Yeah. Real goal is to use the phrases I learned. Yeah, that's important. Yeah. So I don't need to remember the exact phrase. Yeah. I don't want to get stuck in speaking English, and I want to increase the expressions I can use, and I will continue broadcasting my personal development. Yeah, and I needed to explain them in detail, and I want to make it more descriptive. So this is a temporary phase. This is a sub project in order to improve my English skills, and yeah, as I said this line, I feel like I'm not really improving lately, but now I have spent 5 days, already 5 days, spent 5 days to learn these phrases, I feel like I'm improving, yeah, in these 5 days, because I learned a lot. Yeah, I I, I have already learned a lot of phrases, and yeah, I think I can use this. Hmm. So I'm I'm satisfied, and yeah, my goal is uh, my my temporary goal. Uh, my temporary goal is to remember the 200 phrases for a week. So I will do it in 2 days. Yeah, yeah. After that, I will go back to my personal project, and I was building a tool to generate code. Yeah, yeah. It is almost done, and also I have created a board game, what's called Selfish, and yeah, its rules is fixed. Yeah, but I want to improve it, and I have a plan to make it 3D. 3D. Yeah. So in yeah, this weekend, after run the I finished the learning English phrases, I will work on making it 3D. It would be fun. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for watching today. That's all for today's stream. See you soon. Bye.